And now we go to Alaska again. And I'm pleased to introduce Mayor Reggie Joule. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. Oh, there you are. I will keep my remarks brief. That's a note I have here. I would have used the word short, but I already am, so I'll keep them brief. I am from Kotzebue, Alaska, and is this a pointer? And I must be able to point. Whoa. That's pretty good. I won't go there. That's the end of my technological understanding. I come from Northwest Alaska. And the area that I come from is the Northwest Arctic Borough. We have several layers of government that we choose to utilize in Alaska. We have the state government. We have regional governments called boroughs. We have individual community governments, municipalities. And in many of our indigenous communities, we have tribal governments. I come from the borough or regional government, and am the mayor of the Northwest Arctic Borough. Our place, our snapshot, is an area up above the Arctic Circle. Most of the borough is above the Arctic Circle. Just on the coast, we have 3 coastal communities and 8 river communities. We have a population of about 7,500 people. And we have an area of about 36,000 square miles. That's physically where and who we are. The who, about 80% of our people are Inupiaq, of Inupiaq descent, indigenous people. I myself am Inupiaq person, but I also have a bit of European flowing through my veins as well. But you can't really tell it from my first name or my last name. I know where Reginald came from. My grandfather was the only one with Joule, which is a measurement of unit of energy. But we have no idea where that came from. He was the only one. The missionaries gave it to him, and our family was the only Joules. However, I do have a middle name, which is Lieb, L-I-E-B. On my mother's side, my great-grandfather came from Germany. And from those who know the name or are familiar with that language or naming, have told me that I probably, in addition to German, probably have some German Jew. And then on my father's side, my grandmother was married to a Huff, which is Norwegian. So those are the parts of me that I don't know very well. I was raised by my grandparents. And in being raised by my grandparents, who were Inupiaq, much of my perspective, I think, or foundation of who I am and what I do comes from them. I'm very fortunate. We have a member of our assembly, Hendy Ballot, here. We have our government affairs person here. And over the last 3 days, this has been enlightening. We come with a perspective, but to hear a global perspective and where you fit in it has been very educational for me. Now, as it relates to energy and our use, we're mostly heating with mostly heating with stove oil. Our range of cost in our area at the low end is $6.50 a gallon. At the high end, where it cannot be barged, is at $11 a gallon, where it has to be flown in to some communities. In a place and in communities that have very little economy. And so trying to provide not only heat, you add to that the cost of electricity, which in the winter months, which we are beginning shortly, people's light bills, electric bills, will run between $500 and $1,200 a month. That's to turn on the lights. So about 47% of our income is used on energy. In an area where we pay 2 times more than some of our urban neighbors in our state, but our energy usage is 2 times less. Somehow, even with that equation, it still doesn't add up, but I understand it. I hope you do. And I know we have and live in a challenging area. You know, our people have been, our legacy has been that we are people of the land. We are hunters, we are gatherers. And our people, adaptation to our people is, that hits the resilience part of this theme. Our people have been very resilient over time. And we struggle with that currently, but it is a foundation of our ancestry. And so as we look to our future, we're standing on solid ground. And as we embrace the challenges of the things yet to come, I think it's our responsibility to find the opportunities in them. Now, it's not like we have nothing going on, because we do. In our borough, we are fortunate for the last 30 years to have the world's largest open pit lead and zinc mine. This land, this resource, sits on Nana Land, a native corporation. You heard yesterday and a little bit the day before of this corporation, the 13 native corporations. Nana is one of them. They own the land that the resource is on. And we went hunting for those with Arctic experience to market, produce that resource. And we found Kaminko. 30 years later, Teck operates that mine. One company comes in and pretty soon takes over, and that is where we're at. But the point I want to make here is there's some really neat things that we have done in developing non-renewable resources. One, we made it an early priority to hire local people. And we are pretty consistently between the 55 and 60% local hire mark. people who are shareholders or are married to shareholders, so they're in the family. That's pretty darn good in an area where there may be 500 jobs and you have that percentage. It stimulates the economy. Now, having said that, if we have 50% of that 50%, or 1/4, choose to live in Anchorage or Wasilla or someplace outside of our area, and 25% still live in the area. So it really boosts our economy in the villages and in our region. We also have, because we are hunter-gatherers, as we set this up, an agreement that says when the caribou are migrating in the fall, the trucks on the road that brings the ore from the mine site to the port site must stop and allow the caribou to move. They do that. We have a high standard for water quality because the creek, Ikalakrak Creek, runs into the Willock River. The Willock River is where the community of Kivalina gets its water and depends on much of its fish that they eat, that we eat. Believe me, that's some of my favorite. So we do some good things, but those are agreements made privately with the producers. Now, in our borough, we do a couple of things. We can derive a tax or a payment in lieu of a tax from this mine. That's why we formed the borough. It helps us provide some services, planning and zoning, public services, things like public safety, economic development. We fund education through this and help so that the full burden is not on the state. We make that contribution. So, we have made this system, arduous as it is sometimes, work. Now, today we are faced with this change, and we wonder about how to adapt. And I guess, you know, in our area, we are blessed with resources. We are blessed with natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable. And we are blessed with human resources. They are our gift. They are our responsibility. And I met one of those human resources that I'm speaking about. Brand new, September 27th was the day he was born. And it just happened to be my grandson. So before coming here, I was able to meet him. And before I left my home, his name, by the way, is Hunter Presley Merkuliev. Hunter, my daughter and her husband liked that name. Presley, because my daughter is an Elvis fan, and Elvis's name was not allowed, but Presley was acceptable. And Merkuliev is his name. Before I left Kotzebue, I called one of my best friends, and I asked permission for a name. And I gave him this name, Koleok. And I say that because I too have a name. You heard it. It's Reggie. And his name is Hunter. Kalayok is who he will be. Isigirakdok is who I am. Reggie is my name. Thank you.